Now, back to another striking story. The Kenya National Union of Nurses has issued a fresh strike threat following what they term as the insincerity of county governments in paying a nursing service allowance. The allowance was part of the promise made to the nurses as a part of a return to work agreement which was signed in December last year. The Union Secretary General Seth Panyako has announced that come 1st February, if the money is not disbursed, then they will paralyze medical services across the country. Our reporter Timothy Otieno covered that particular press conference and now joins us live from our city centre studios with details about that fresh strike notice. Good afternoon, Timothy. The nurses seem to not be as serious as doctors. They went on strike, then they went back to work. Now this is a fresh threat. What exactly is happening?
Then for a second time in slightly over their week in last year.
All right, we apologize for that technical problem we are encountering with the sound by our reporter Timothy Otieno, but as we try to fix it so that he can give us more details about that, let's take a look at what was said earlier by the Nurses Union Secretary General Seth Panyako.
We have also been informed that there has been a new allowance that has been mooted by Council of Governors and the Ministry of Health, known as the Health Service Allowance. We want to tell the government that the health service allowance that has been mooted shall be paid to all health workers, including doctors. I don't have to speak on behalf of doctors, but I'm saying all health workers. Doctors have their own union. But once you introduce a health service allowance, it must be paid up and above the nursing service allowance. The health service allowance that they are thinking about is not going to replace the nursing service allowance. If they pay the health service allowance, then they are going also to pay up and above the nursing service allowance. That must be very clear with government.
The ball stops at the doorstep of the government because they signed the agreement. So when they start telling us that they have not generated the codes, the government procedure is a very long procedure, I think we would have stayed out for them to sign to get the code, because I'm sure the code would have been generated before December was over.
All right, let's go back to our reporter Timothy Otieno with more details about that fresh strike notice by Nurses Union. Timothy, good afternoon. You were telling us about the latest developments from the Nurses Unions about the strike that would begin on the 1st of February if county government does not honor a particular promise.
Well, we've heard from the Secretary General there, Seth Panyako, who has said that they have heard that there could be an introduction of a health service allowance by the county governments. Of course, they are, reading a lot into it and saying that it is really suspicious that this allowance is being introduced, yet they had signed for a nursing service allowance. Now, this nursing service allowance would cost the government approximately 7 billion shillings and was supposed to ensure that nurses under job group G to L get 20,000 shillings in their accounts, as well as those from job group M and above were awarded a 15,000 shillings nursing allowance. Now, the first phase of implementation of this money was supposed to be the end of this month, where it was supposed to be paid on a ratio of 60 to 40%. So this month, they were supposed to be receiving 12,000 shillings. Those are nurses in between job groups G to L, and then they would receive a later 8,000 shillings during the second phase that is expected to kick off in July. Those in job group M and above are supposed to be receiving 9,000 shillings by the end of this month, and then a further 6,000 shillings during the second phase in July. What Seth Panyako is saying is that they are reading suspicion in the fact that out of the 47 counties, only 2 counties have been able to honor this agreement, and those are the counties of Bomet Bomet and Lamu that actually factored this amount of money in their monthly budgets for the month of January, meaning 45 other counties are yet to honor this agreement, and they're saying that in the next 4 days, if that money is not deposited to the accounts of the nurses in the country, then they will engage in one of the country's largest strikes yet. They say that this time, if they begin the strike on the 1st of February, they are not going to end it until they come up with a collective bargaining agreement, and that's around the time of the 2nd of March, when they had agreed that by that time they'll have a collective bargaining agreement. Now, the reason for this strike notice is that they read suspicion and a lack of goodwill from the county governments in regards to honoring the return to work formula that they had signed in December, and basically they're saying that they will not be taken for a ride and that they need to ensure that their best interests are put first, and especially the interest of the nurses, whom they insist for a long time have been ignored by both the national and county government. Akisa.
Timothy, thank you very much for that update. Timothy Otieno joining us from our city center studios with details of the fresh threat by nurses, and they've said that they will go back on strike from the 1st of February if county government does not honor their promise.